All right, it's 7 o'clock, guys. Time to start. I'm sorry. Welcome to Insert Coin, exploring the wild world of Japanese arcades. I am your host, Anime Statistics Guy. Just a little FYI, we're going to call this version 0.8. I had the equivalent of a blue screen of death for a Mac today, and I lost about 2.5 days worth of work. So there's going to be some rough parts in here. I do apologize. So just a quick introduction about myself. Normally I do anime statistics panels at anime conventions where I answer questions like, when will the isekai genre die? Spoiler, not for a while. I also do things like, what is the biggest fetish in hentai? But this is not an 18 plus panel, so I cannot answer that. I used to say, when will it die? And I would answer, it wouldn't. It would just reincarnate in another world, but then I get booed off stage. Otherwise, I started in the Navy for 8.5 years, including getting stationed in Japan. I just got back on the 1st of December from a month-long research trip for this panel. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about the data sources. So the biggest source of this is a magazine called Amusement Journal Magazine. I have 2 copies of it up here if anyone wants to take a look at them after the panel. This is a monthly arcade industry magazine. It's been published continuously since 2001, and prior to that, it used to be called Queen Journal Magazine, and it started in 1977. I acquired 1 year's worth of the magazines and 10 years worth of their annual review magazines. There is a little asterisk on there, and I'll explain what that is in a little while. Otherwise, some of the other data I'd gotten are just various stock and earning reports from arcade-related companies, Sega, Gigo, Taito, Bandai Namco, etc. So I had all this data, so I needed to apply a couple rules. First, titles that just received an update were counted as the same machine, i.e. Midnight Maximum Tune 5 and Midnight Maximum Tune 5 DX are the same. Titles that were iterated on yearly are also counted as the same unless they would be in an arcade together. So Winning Evolution 2014 and 15 are basically the same, but Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 4 are separate machines. And if I was unsure if an arcade had both versions, then I just counted them as separate machines. Also, some games released in June or July, causing both the previous version and the new version to be counted in the data, because it is an annual thing. So some limitations. First, this magazine is mostly in Japanese, and I do not speak Japanese. Google translations can be pretty bad. There's no real good automated service, and I kind of ran out of time to come up with some program to make it easier. So an example of this, has anyone heard of the game Angry Chief B Maximum Birth? Yeah, it's an AI generated image. Yeah. What the actual game was a from the Donpachi series, which is a bullet hell game. So there was some issues like that where I had to double check the work and see what was going on. Also, all these magazines were scanned by hand using a flatbed scanner. So that each one of these magazines took me about 2 hours to do. Yeah. And basically that also meant the data couldn't really be automated. I had to enter it by hand and verify it by hand before anything could be manipulated. So just a quick on the outline here. So we did the intro. We talked about those limitations. We'll do a little bit of how the industry is going, and then I'll talk about the types of arcade games. And this is another one of the slides where I wish I'd actually finished it, but it kind of got lost. So let's talk about how the industry is doing. They're doing well. Yeah. Sure. And unfortunately, this is the section that I was working on when my computer crashed. So for you data nerds, you're going to love it. For everyone else, it's going to be a little bit boring, but I will do my best. So the pictures you can see right here are the basically it's like an S&P 500 but for arcade stocks. So basically, to fill that in is basically the S&P 500 is a collection of stocks that are supposed to represent how well the stock market is doing. In this case, these stocks right here are all of the arcade manufacturers, all of the servicers, all of the game companies, all of the anything related to all the arcade stuff. They take 50 companies, combine it together, and create basically an index fund or a combination fund. I'm not too familiar with stocks, so there's probably a better term for it. So this is 2016 through 2018. So the top is 2016, then 2017, 2018. So you can kind of see, it was going along, started rising, kept rising year over year. Now this is, it's 2015 through 2018. This is 2019 through 2020. So this would have been, again, it continued to rise. Even during the pandemic, you can see that at the bottom there's the pandemic dip. I can't show you the mouse. You can't see it on my screen. But yeah, at the bottom there, you can see the dip from COVID. Since then, it has regained its status. This is 2022. So it's healthy. Again, I apologize. It's a little boring, but all right. So let's go. We'll talk about the categories of arcade games. This is how the industry categorizes arcade games. So they are video games, large video games, prize games, AM vending, metal games, and children's amusements. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get to children's amusement, and we will only briefly touch on metal games. So let's go ahead and start off with the video game category. So if you're curious what a video game category consists of, this consists of standardized units or multi-purpose cabinets, such as the Astro City, Blast City, or more recently, the AllNet cabinet. These are cabs where they are designed to be changed out with a conversion kit. Examples of games in this category include, but are not limited to, fighting games, shoot-'em-ups, retro, and sports games. So some history about it. Pinball and other electromechanic games were popular with kids at Japanese department stores, generally located in their very own space, either on the top floor or the basement of department stores. Periscope was the first Periscope, manufactured by Nakamura Manufacturing Company, aka Namco, was the first domestically produced arcade game. It was an electromechanical machine where players looked through a submarine periscope, shooting at torpedoes at cardboard cutouts of ships hanging from chains that moved horizontally. Just FYI, Pong came out in 1972. Space Invaders, which came out in 1978, kicked off what would have been known as the golden age of arcade games. In 1986, Sega released the City Arcade Cabinet. This was the first successful multi-purpose arcade cabinet. An arcade owner could easily swap out the PCB whenever they wanted for a new game. Body Slam was the first conversion kit game, i.e. did come pre-installed with the arcade cabinet. So a little more about this data. Amusement Journal's data and rankings come from 50 arcades located across 9 major geographic regions. So it's Hokkaido, Tohoku, Kanto, where Tokyo is located, Chubu, Kansai, which is where Kyoto and Osaka is located, Shikoku, Kyushu, and the last one's the major outlying islands, like Okinawa. There are at least 2 arcades from each region, and I get 2 different data streams collected for the arcade games. First is profitability, aka how much is an arcade game making for a arcade. The other is popularity, aka how much are people playing it. In order to be counted in the data, the game must be installed in at least 3 arcades in 2 separate regions, and it must have been out for 5 months. So sometimes you'll see me talk about games, you'll be like, wait, that came out in 2015, and it was popular, or I talk about, how it took over in 2016. That's the reason why. So let's talk about the most profitable video games. These are the most profitable video games for 2015. The top 5 in reverse order are Nesca Live, Street Fighter 4, Dragon Ball Z, Zenkai Battle, and Tekken 7. You'll notice that the number 1 is blacked out in the list, and that's because it belongs to a franchise that's absolutely destroying arcades. So I'll reveal that in a franchise in a little bit. In case you're wondering what Nesca Live is, it's a digital distribution system produced by Taito for Taito and Square Enix titles. The arcade owner could download titles to the latest titles, including some retro games. Notable examples of this game include fighting games like Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, bullet hell games like Crimson Clover, or casual games like 3D cosplay Mahjong. Yeah. So skipping ahead to 2016, you see a couple new entries, including Puyo Puyo, Pokemon Pokken Tournament, and Power Smash 3. In 2017, there were 2 new titles added to the list, and that was Magician's Dead Next Blazing, which is a fighting game. Okay, and this is the data for 2018. Again, nothing really changed here. No new games. So, all right, that got a little out of order. So I'm going to talk about the AllNet multipass system, which is Sega's version of the Nesco Live. All right. Skipping ahead to 2019, Street Fighter V takes the number 3 spot from a new game from the Mega franchise that I've been teasing, and then, Street Fighter V takes the number 3 spot, and a new game from the Mega franchise I've been teasing about comes out. By 2020, that new game has knocked the old one off the list, and it continues to dominate into 2021 and 2022. So let's talk about the most popular games. So there's a score here. The score is the number of players times the number of arcades with that game out of 50, because again, it was with 50 arcade cabinets. So you can see all the data right there. I will again talk about a couple of these. So scrolling across, you can see 2016 next to 2017 and 2018. Those are the most popular games there. There's 2018, 2019, 2020. Again, you can see the ones that are blanked out are that franchise. 2021, 2022, and 2023. So those are the most popular ones. One thing to note there, basically, I should have said this before, but again, I lost like 2.5 days worth of this. If you look at the score, you can kind of get a general idea of how much COVID affected these games. So if you notice, like the top score is a lot lower. I will talk a little bit more of that later. So now let's talk about the large video game category. These are specialized units with dedicated purpose. Examples are Dance Dance Revolution, Time Crisis, Mario Kart, Dance Go. These cabinets usually have specialized hardware designed just to play one game. Examples of games in this category include, but are not limited to, racing games, shooting games, simulation games, music and rhythm games, and 3D VR games. So a little bit of history. Hang On, released in 1985, was the first motion simulation motorcycle racing game that required the player to lean from side to side to steer. Prior to this, most racing games were a steering wheel or paddles attached to an upright cabinet. They maybe had a seat, such as Pole Position by Namco. Beat Mania, released in December of 1977, was the first music and rhythm arcade game. It's a DJ-themed rhythm game where players must hit specific keys at a specific time. The arcade game was so popular, it led the boom for arcade rhythm games as they are today. Beat Mania games are still being released today. Heavyweight Champ, released in 1976, was the first fighting arcade game. This black and white game was an electronic version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. But the first Karate Champ, released in 1984 by Deco, is considered to be the first modern-style fighting game, aka one-on-one fighting. It uses 2 8-way joysticks to execute one of 24 different moves. So let's go ahead and talk about the 15 most profitable games. The large video game category has a much bigger variety of games, so I will not be able to highlight them all. To make it easier, I've listed the type and genre for the games that are here for 2025. Oh, yay. Come on. Oh, I think my pointer died. There we go. Yay. I gotta love this. All right. Yeah. In 2016, a new game dominated the chart. That was the Concole arcade game, based off the popular browser game. This is an example of a card battler game in which you collect anthropomorphic ship girls, which cost money to battle against abysmals. This is my favorite Japanese arcade game. I've sunk way too much money into this game. This game features a ship's helm, a steering wheel that you can control to navigate your ship, girls.
Who's your favorite ship girl?
Shimakaze. Yeah. All right. In 2017, the next game I'll talk about is I'll shift to 2017 and highlight a new game. This is of course it's hidden behind there. This is Disgaea Final Fantasy. It's a joystick fighter shooter. This is the third-person arena battling game featuring 2 fixed joysticks with controllable thumbsticks and several buttons for melee and weapons combat. Moving on to 2018, the next game I will highlight is Densha de Go. This train simulation game features realistic train cabin controls. Players in Densha de Go are expected to follow all the rules of Japanese train drivers. This game features a real-life train routes such as the Yamanote line of Tokyo and the Osaka Loop line in Osaka. I think it's got one of the coolest opening songs to play it. All right. So moving on to 2018, the next game I will highlight is probably one of. So I guess 2019. Sorry, the next game I highlight is probably one of the biggest failures on this list. This is Starwing Paradox. It's a mech battler. The height for the game was super high. The players sit in a pod that can rotate, tilt, shake, vibrate, etc. Unfortunately, this game shut down after 3 years. The cabinet cost 6 figures in US dollars, so it also suffered from a lack of access. Yeah. And when I shift to 2020, you can see it's completely left the list. Oh, I got a little ahead of myself there. Yeah, shifting to 2021, Fate Grand Order takes the #1 spot. This card-based battler is based on the popular Type Moon Fate Stay Night franchise. The game is a 3D real action game compared to the 2D mobile game it's based on. Moving to 2022, the next game I'll highlight is JoJo Bizarre Adventures Last Survivor. This battle royale game based on the hit anime is basically Fortnite with JoJo characters. Again, this game uses 2 fixed joystick thumb pads for buttons.
To play the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Battle Royale arcade cabinet. Oh yeah. Now I'm not gonna lie, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I do not read Japanese, but after Darby here shuffles through a hand of cards, you get to choose your character. You play using these 2 joysticks, and even without knowing Japanese, this game is simple. It's a battle royale. You choose where to land, you get in, and you fight to be the last one survive, but this time with JoJo. I basically played as Part 3 Jotaro because all I did was just run around and use Star Platinum to beat up anyone in sight. And man, do I wish we had this game in the States. It's so much fun to play. Pretty standard battle royale, but it's pretty
Alright. So, well, so much for hiding the mystery franchise. This has been the bane of my existence. It's alright. Yeah. So I'll read the script because I had prepared a script. I will finally reveal the big franchise that I've been hiding. The one that's been owning the arcades. You hadn't figured it out yet? It's the Gundam franchise. Yeah. Yeah. No, Lump Live is one that was another one of those games that like shot up and then just disappeared. Another reason I haven't changed the chart for 2024 yet is because the Amusement Magazine changed how they tracked arcade games. They combined the arcade and large arcade games together. Here's the profitability chart. For the arcade large arcade games, and here is the popularity charts for 2024. Again, I've highlighted the Gundam games just to tell you about it. There's a new arcade in Akihabara called Silk Hat, which replaced the Gigo that had been there for 32 years. Just to give you an FYI, they've devoted one floor just to the Gundam Arsenal base machines and a whole nother floor for the Gundam Extreme vs. 2 arcade machines. Yeah, it's very rare to see one franchise on a whole floor.
That Kubo was Sega, the arcade, and then Gigo, and then
Yep. Yeah. The one advantage of going to a place like MAGFest is like all these arcade games I'm talking about. A lot of them are down in the arcade area, so it's not as like mysterious. I mean, you can be like, oh, I'll just go down and go play that. Or I've been playing it all weekend because it's Saturday. So now I'll shift over to prize machines. Prize machines, just as the name implies, are games where you can win a prize. Examples of prizes include, but not limited to, food and drinks, figures, plush toys, keychains, etc. Prize machines fall into one of four categories. We have your standard model, most common, most versatile, good for just about any type of prize. We have your large machines, usually have 3 arms or for large stuffed toys. We have your small machines for handling things like charms, sweets, mascots, which is something the magazine specifically calls out for. And then we have your non-standard models. These are prize machines that don't use a crane, but instead relying on lights or tilting. We'll get more to those later. So just some history about prize machines. Prize games date back to the 1890s as hand-cranked candy dispensers. The crane and the crane games did not appear until the 1930s, thanks to the popularity of steam shovels at the time. Sega has been making arcade games since the 60s, but their most popular line is the UFO catcher. That did not debut until May 1985. This changed the game. Cranes up to this point were largely from an overheads perspective. Sega's UFO catcher brought it to eye level, making it easier to put the claw where you want it to go. Crane games account for 55% of an arcade's revenue. Yeah. And the UFO catcher was officially brought to the U.S. in 2006. So who here has been to Japan? Anyone? Okay. Put your hands down. Who here has played a crane game? Doesn't have to be in Japan. Okay. But who here has actually done an arcade game in Japan? Hey, more power to you. So the question you may ask yourself is, what kind of info can we learn from knowing which prize machines ate the most of my money while trying to win this stupid plush? I'm looking at you, Torchic Plus.
Did you look up the resale value once you won it?
$20. So here's the top performing machines for 2015. Again, I'll put it side by side with 2016 so you can see the changing of the guard for prime machines. The Klena 2, which you can see there, which was in 2015, by Namco, was the gold standard up until 2016, when Sega's UFO catcher debut and took over the top spot, has not given it up yet. So that's the Klena 2 and the UFO catcher 9. So I plan to use this section to point out some trends in prize games. So I'll move from 2017 and then to 2018. The first game I want to highlight is our first non-claw crane type of prize game, and that is the Tripod. This machine is considered a lights prize machine. In this model, the player must stop the light on the spikes that are holding up the prize. The evil thing about this machine is the player may need to stop the light on multiple spikes before the prize drops. If you go to Japan, you will probably see these used to stack large amounts of food, candy, drinks, etc.
Very evil.
Yes. So I just brought up the... Let's see. Oop, did I... So next is 2020 and 2021. 2020 was a COVID year, and Japan closed. I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I accidentally went one too many forward, and I can't go back without a lot of work, so I'll read my script. 2020 was the year COVID started, and Japan closed its door to foreigners for a couple of years. We'll have a look at the effect of this in a minute. The machine I want to highlight for you is the UFO Triple Twin. That was the one that just disappeared. The Triple Twin popularized the joystick control. It was not the first, It was not the first, but according to arcade owners, it was the one that made the players feel like they had fine control over the arcade movements. Normally, you would just have two buttons, up and then right or whatever, or left, depending on which one machine it was. Now I will bring up the data for 2021 and 2022, but the rankings don't tell us what happened for COVID, what COVID did for the industry. Japan did not end domestic travel restrictions until late 2021, and its COVID restrictions for foreigners till October 2022. I just happened to arrive in Japan a couple days after the lockdown ended, and it was an interesting time, but that's a story for another time. Instead, I will bring up the popularity data for 2019 through 2022. So if you look, 2020 compared to 2019 had a 26% drop because of COVID. As frustrated Japanese citizens ventured out from their homes, arcades were a popular area to spend their money. So again, if you look at 2021, you can see it start bouncing back. Added 2022, when foreigners were let in, it skyrocketed. And between 2020 is low and 2024, there's been a 35% surge in people playing crane games. This is an increase is why a lot of arcades are pivoting to putting more and more crane games inside. You are more likely to see a crane game placed in areas you would not expect. So I'm going to talk about AM vendors. And just in case you're curious what AM vendor means, it stands for amusement vendors. These are games that are designed to provide amusement. Examples of this include, but are not limited to, photo booths, amusement rides, such as 3D or kids rides that you see at the mall or arcades, beverage and food dispensers, change machines, and various other machines. So now let's talk about photo booths. The name comes from the very first photo booth called Print Club, or Printo Kurabu, as it's known in Japanese. There are two types of photo booths. There are photo sticker and makeup tutorial booths. The latter is almost non-existent, largely thanks to the internet and the rise of makeup tutorials on social media platforms. So let's talk a little bit about the history. Modern automatic photo booths debuted in New York City in 1925. You got 6 photos for a quarter. Prior to this, automatic photo booths were unreliable and could take hours to print versus minutes. Takashi Shimizu was a clerk at an arcade in Yazoo City in Shizuoka. She noticed the lack of activities for females at arcades at the time, was looking to change that. She got the idea after noticing a bunch of females going into a proof photo machine to take pictures together. Japan is very much an analog society, so proof photos are standardized photos needed for things like job applications, licenses like liquor licenses, heavy machinery, diving, passports, and so forth. The first photo booth debuted in July 1995. It became an instant success. Demand was so strong that Atlas, yes, the people that make Persona games, ran 2 shifts to manufacture Print Club, and still could not keep up with demand. Purikura, which is what they call it in Japan, booths peaked in the early 2000s and have slowly been trending downwards since. So the photo booth industry is very competitive. Most photo booths only last a couple years before they fall off the scene. Each new photo booth tries to add a new gimmick that draws people in. Here's a chart for the last 10 years photo rankings. Notice the first column is the name of the booth done in release order. Watch as I scroll through the chart. Notice how short a booth is on a chart for. So if you So I will confess, I do not have much first-hand knowledge about these booths. I am not of the demographic that typically uses photo booths in Japan, so you will need to forgive me if I oversimplify things. But I will try to talk about some of the gimmicks that have been used to get people to come to the photo booth. The OG gimmick was adding stickers, allowing users to add stickers to photos. So think of like adding emojis and stuff like that to photos. The next major gimmick was the touchscreen. Photo booths used to have arrows that you had to navigate and kind of move things around. Transparent stickers were a huge hit for a while. So basically the sticker would be clear anywhere outside like the portrait or whatever. Nowadays, no photo booth is complete without a tie-in app. This allows the users to take photos at like alternative angles. And finally, I'll talk about the oddest gimmick I saw, and that was the removable camera. Basically, the camera in the booth is a puck that the user can remove and hold in their hand or mount into positions around the booth. So we'll talk about metal games. Metal games are games where the player must exchange cash into metals. They fall into one of 3 categories. Metal coin-based games where the cash is typically turned into arcade tokens. Metal ball-based games where the cash is turned into metal balls. The most common type you might have heard of is pachinko. And then you finally have electronic gambling games. Typically, the player feeds their money directly into the machine. It's most commonly used for sports, simulated sports betting, such as horse racing, but also include electronic casino games like poker and blackjacks. The thing to know is metals cannot be traded back into cash. They can only be used to play more games or exchange for prizes, similar to a ticket system in the West. So a little history. Laws in Japan prevent any machine from gambling with real currency, i.e. accepting money without the guarantee of a return. Elements of skill were, except where elements of skill were involved. Sega has been making slot machines since the 1950s, but could not legally sell them in Japan. So Sega tried to get around the ban with a slot machine called Olympia Star that used a specialized token that could be converted into cash. Sega eventually got slapped for this. So Sigma is the company that coined the term metals in 1964 when they opened their own minting press and started minting their own currency that could not be converted into cash. Yeah. So as I get to the end of my presentation here, sometimes when I'm doing all this research, I come across some really interesting things that I like to just kind of throw at the end of my presentation. So I'm going to talk about arcade conventions. So in Japan has 2 arcade conventions. Japan Amusement Expo. The other big one is the Asia Amusement and Attractions Expo. The Japan Amusement Expo takes place in mid-November. It's a one-day event where you get to go over and try the latest and greatest. I mean, don't those guys look like they're having fun in their business suits? I wouldn't doubt it. Someone has to test out this VR ride. So it is open to the public. It's only like 1,000 yen to go do it. Yeah. And the games inside are all free. Yeah. And it takes place at Tokyo Big Sight. So if anyone knows Tokyo Big Sight, it's a big thing. A lot of big events. It's a giant space. So unfortunately, that is the end of my presentation. I thank you all for coming out. I also really thank you for putting up with my really crappy slides. I am sorry I lost so much time, and I've been stressing about this all weekend. But you guys have been a great audience. Thank you for coming out. If you have any questions or want to see the magazine, feel free to come up and enjoy the rest of your MAGFest. Now go have fun. Yes. Yes. It would just, so a new Gundam game would come out and it would just shoot like, it would be 30 times, it would be like 2 or 3 times more popular than the next game in the list. And it would just own the list, year after year after year. Yeah, it's like, it's people are spending lots of money in it, so that means, arcades you're putting that stuff in it. Oh yeah, feel free.
And then also, one of the first slides, you showed the what's it called, the market chart. And in the first chart, there was this massive,
Yeah, so that was COVID. So when it was 2016?
Yeah, so there's this big, if you go back to your charts, there's this line that just plummets into that.
Yeah, so let me go back to that slide there. So if I could actually zoom in, they actually say what caused the drop. So I will have to look that up.
Yeah, no worries. I just saw that.
It's still really rudimentary. At first I was worried I didn't have enough data. Then I realized I had too much data and just started freaking out. I still have, another 20 magazines at home that I haven't even scanned. I had literally a month, not even a month, I had 2 weeks to put this whole panel together. Because I just got back the 1st of December, I had to travel for work for 2 weeks, and then I had to scan this thing, process the data, do all this stuff, work on it, so I'm hoping that, I can refine this, over the next year or so, and hopefully if MAGFest invites me back, when I come back, this panel will be completely changed. But to answer your kind of question, maybe, it'd be kind of interesting.
地球でラブラブおしゃれ修行
Yeah.
集めて
Yeah.
変えてお出かけよおしゃれアドベンチャー世界物語パックインソフト
So in Japan and retro, they have a lot of like what you call like a MAM, so a multi-arcade cabinet like that. I was talking about that like all-net MAME. Sorry, yes. It's been a long weekend. Yeah, so you know their all-net are the other one that I was talking about earlier. They a lot of those they have you get to select a game you want to play. So they have multiple in there, and there's a lot of retro games in there, especially a lot of the old like bullet hell, fighting games, stuff like that. Some of them have like 20 or 30 games. You just put one coin in, you get to play whatever you want.
機動戦士ガンダム巡り合い空はい
Yes. Yeah, that's still kind of something about the first 4 floors of that arcade, the arcade, all just crane games. Yeah. They know where it makes the money. I do not, sorry. I would definitely keep that in mind. I mean, all I can really give you is my, like, the only thing I really have. Most I just do this in conventions for fun. So, like, I'll be doing this again in Katsu, but it'll be much more updated, much more detailed on then. I'll do this probably 4 or 5 times this year.
頑張れ日本5つのハードで登場頑張れ日本オリンピック2000
Yeah, the one in Vegas. Yeah.
He is back
やろうぜまた一緒に PS2 で腹っぱつ4キュッパだ
プレイステーション
I mean, I can give you my email, or you can,
Mario ならではの仕掛け満載
the only social media I have is Twitter, X
ボタン2回の簡単操作
楽ですね無理しないで
ダブルス対戦も熱くなるそしてなんとどうぞごゆっくり土管を使ってショートカットワンワンを起こさないように気をつけろそして今度のピーチはミニスカートだマリオとならゴルフはもっと面白い任天堂ゲームキューブマリオゴルフファミリーツアー
あなたお使いは
6年 P 組
ソピー先
川島君が転校します書き換え体操で送りましょう
So one of the big, because I've been doing some research for them, one of the biggest trends I noticed is just basically I noticed like what games in the arcade are not the latest versions. Like I can tell how old an arcade game is from looking at it. So like the Tunism games they have down there, that's 2.5, 3 years old now. The media games are like 2 years old. The Midnight Runs are only a year old, but some, also they have some like brand new ones that just came out a couple months ago. You know, it's kind of like weird things you just get from the past.
そうですか 知ってるのかあんた前から帰ってきた名作 RPG ワイルドアームズセカンドイングリッシュ
Yeah, this kind of does really well for variety and really bringing all those Japanese games there. It's crazy how, you know, when I see it.
この地上を制覇するのはモンスターかエイリアンかラストハルマゲドンもう誰も優子を止められない新たなる戦士の戦いアリス3
Yeah, but that's also started
今
the
ト
dial
ムロ
too. You
ム
don't
が
see.
面白い
Yeah. It was basically how that came about was Pete came out and then the same company made drum freaks and guitar freaks and that literally kicked off the whole classic guitar era for stuff like that.
本日特選激うまのボンバ
A
ー
lot
ボ
longer
ーイ
than that. It was 8 years
なんと面
for
白
guitar
3連発メインディッシュは過激な VS モード
before the
ボ
first
ン
rock
バーボー
band
イ
whatever
熱いうち
guitar
に食べてください
here in the US.
Like I said, I say around that because, like I said, they were trying to say their incarnation. I remember.
どうも爆笑問題の田中裕二です
太田光です
すっかりおなじみになりました爆笑問題の突撃スターパイレーツ第3回がいよいよ8月31日から放送開始です
もう 夏休み真っ盛り。
ねえ、もう終わってんじゃねえかよ。もう新宿池袋と来ましたね。次どこなんでしょうね。
I got your thing. I
飛び
will.
すぎ
I
だ
mean,
ろ。
I'm
普
at
通山手線の
33
どっかだと
on
思うよ俺。
Yeah, no problem.
鎌倉。
Yeah, no
いや
problem.
鎌倉は絶対お前ほんと地理
EICKY33.
苦手だね。アンドロイドがね、なんか今回から買うらしい。修理に出したらしい。
何ロイド？
いや、アンドロイドは
ハロンドロイド。
いや、それは違うと思う。まあそんなこんなで爆笑問題の突撃スターパイレーツ第3回は8月31日日曜日から9月6日土曜日の毎日夜7時に放送です。
びっくり玉手箱。
おい、あのワニなんか寝ぼけてねえか？
あらーっと、こっちの世界は最高だね。飛んだり跳ねたり行ったり来たり、まっすぐ行ったら突き当たり、なんでもあり。すごいワニ。
生かしたわ逃げクラッカーアドベンチャー。
Yeah, so
Konami Sports 2002年はコナミのサッカーゲームでもて
Obviously, the biggest one being the Digo franchise.
アンダー22日本代表チームでも戦ったワールドサッカー実況ウイニングイレブン4 9月2日発売。
You know, still has the new one of the block. They're all new, fancy, stuff like that. There's one. There is one. God, I forget the name of it. Their whole deal is their arcade is located in a big pyramid. That's their whole thing. Is like it's all Egyptian themed for the interior and the exterior.
チンク
But
ル
it's
は
just
お
a
金
normal
を
arcade.
集めます
Really
お
weird
金に執着
dichotomy.
するその姿は実に人間的ですこれこの顔です世の中くせ者揃いですあの手この手でお金集めに必死です時
Yeah.
には重労働
Yeah, I
に
mean,
も
so
精
like
を出
that,
しま
that
す
is kind of
集
know
めたお
about.
金は
This is
せっ
like
せ
very
と振り込み
cheesy.
ま
It's like
す
someone
そう
only
彼には夢があるのです
knew Egyptian from
夢を追い
like
続ける
Hollywood
日
movies
々
and
その
stuff
先
like that.
に一体何があるので
As
しょ
far as
う
other
か
franchises,
任
there are a
天
couple
堂
of Mob
DS
Powers
もぎ
in
た
there.
てチンク
It
ル
really
の
depends
バ
on
ラ
what
色
kind of
ミ
games
ッ
you're
フィーラン
playing.
ド
There's, you know, the really nice ones are some of the retro game arcades. You know, they're kind of located like middle.
離れていても戦える今度は通信対戦だ新日本プロレス闘魂列伝ソース準備か MG
100体以上の MG コックピットのシンクロ操れ
Yeah, well, they had, you know, some. Yes, that was the game. I love that one. They had this Go-Go 13 game that I effing love. And I actually went back there on my last trip to play it, kind of like pay homage or whatever. The guy was able to save a lot of his machines. So there's a lot of them just have smoke damage. He's currently working on getting them fixed or whatever. A lot of people did donate to it to help him out. So we're hoping, you know, he can open up. But yeah, Shinsekai around there has a lot of like old style games or whatever, like electromechanical games. As far as like the really like Periscope, I actually have played that before. There's this famous tire store, used tire mart. Just outside the suburbs, and they have a shit ton of vendors there. Like, if you ever heard about like the place with all these old vendors? In there, they actually, the guy who owns it has a bunch of old electromechanical. That was actually where I got to play Periscope.
次々に飛び出す謎また謎を君はクリアできるか全てのゲームを飲み込んだ究極のクイズ&アドベンチャー謎を
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to get more done. My mind from MAGFest. I'm also staff, so I'm doing a lot of like long hours and stuff like that. Yeah. So this is the Swag. I actually did the hardware design on this thing. So if you didn't know about the Swag, there's a bunch of good features on here. So one is there is a bunch of games that people made. So what is this? Which is like unfortunately they sold out Friday morning. If you go on Facebook or Twitter or any of the other places and say, hey, I'm looking to get one.
ナンバーワンプロ野球ゲーム最新作実況パワフルプロ野球8
プレイコナミ So Doku, obviously Robo Runner is like a game where it's like
戦がまた始まる新三国無双2さらに極まる王将伝前作があればもっと楽しい
We actually added Swag Fest.
剣の数だけストーリーがある本格ダンジョンロールプレイングゲームプレイステーショングルーブアドベンチャーレイブ未完の史跡好評発売中コナミプレイステーション2で暴れる爽快ハンターアクションハンターハンター幽脈の祭壇そして奪われたローラーストーンプレイコナミ
滅ぼしてやるよ
自分だけのドリームチームを結成し未来を切り開けシャーマンキング明日への意志めちゃ綺麗
ゲームキューブ
君と響き合う RPG テイルズ・オブ・シンフォニア
You know, obviously there's like a little profile. Music on here, we had
Exciting snowboard game! Cool borders!
プレイステーション
翼だ路地裏のリングで戦いに明け暮れる若者たちいつしか彼らはバイパーズと呼ばれるようになったファイティングバイパーズ
Yeah, last year it was Sonic Team. We did the hot dog. The hot dog spot. You go to the museum, you can see all the old slides.
プレイステーション版サムライスピリッツ残響運送権近日発売
We did the ship.
プレイステーション
And then we shelf port.
ほらニャンとワンダフル何それゲームじゃないよプレイステーションでペットするんだよ
Yeah, that was a lot of people on the team's favorite thing. So they made a lot of them went all out on the Mega Man like game one here, and the music was like really good. If you go, yeah, if you want to give it a shot, go for it. If not, down in the indie section is the Swag like arcade simulator down there. So if you want to play these games, there is a little Swag simulator down in the arcade. It's a Swag cabinet. Sorry, I couldn't even think of the name.
Yeah, this is actually a really good game. Can I not play it on Swag?
Yes, go to arcade. This is all open source. All the software is open source. So we have emulators that you can set up and play at home. If not, go down to the arcade, the indie section, and look for the Swag cab, and you can play all this stuff. All the games are on there. I think they're doing a speed run of it either tonight or tomorrow with the guy who like created it and stuff like that.
I got you an achievement.
Woohoo! Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to play this stuff. I mean, I demoed it when we were working on it.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's leaving that technology on the table. It's frustrating too.
Nintendo doesn't run you cheap shit anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Every years I got to pull out the headphone jack. All right, cool. That was good.
Bro,
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay.
Quick question for you.
What's up, man?
When you were doing your research and you were looking at all the unique, large cabinet games.
Yes.
What do those cabinets usually cost?
What's up?
Do you know what the cabinets usually cost for like the rhythm games?
Yes.
Revolution and some of these really intricate drum beat ones.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to, because I did start getting the cost for that stuff, I want to add it to my panel. I just kind of ran out of time for it. So something like a Beat Hero game, that was 600,000 Japanese yen. Okay. So about $60,000 brand new. Something like Densha De Go, they have multiple configurations, but the big, sit-in cab one, it was a $1.2 million game. Something like, the cheaper end would be like the photo booths, the purikuras. They're around 200,000 Japanese yen, so around $20,000. Okay. Plus, you have to buy supplies and stuff like that for them. Some other games, they do, it's Sega, or whatever manufacturer makes it, you can get a little discount, you buy it in bulk, but that's what they advertise in the thing. If you actually look in one of these magazines, if you look, there's some of these arcade games and their ads are listing how much things cost. Like, something simple as a change machine is 20,000 Japanese yen. $2,000 for some machine that you... Yep. So, it's not cheap. It's not a thing. And, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.